In January of 2020, I posted a little video about my bullet journaling process. If you haven't seen it yet, I'd recommend giving it a watch before diving into this one. Today, as requested by some viewers, I'll be breaking down some aspects of my current setup, specifically the monthly log. For me, the monthly log is like the most important part. It's where I can see everything that matters all in one place, at least for the next 30 days. Setting up the monthly log is by far the most tedious and time-consuming part of this whole bullet journaling process, but it's also the most meditative and rewarding. Setting up this monthly log takes me about an hour. I like to look at it as a chance to decompress from last month and to prepare for next month with my fullest intention. And before we get into it, let's talk about intention. I want you to ask yourself, what is my life's mission? Does my month reflect my mission? Does my week reflect my mission? And does my day reflect my mission? Keep this in mind when outlining and assessing your monthly log, whether it looks like mine or not. I believe that the most important thing you can do for yourself and the people around you is to live your truth. So focus on that mission, focus on what's true to you, and do it. Now I'm gonna get off of my high horse, and let's dive in. I go through one journal each year, so most things are the same from the last video. Again, if you haven't seen it, feel free to go watch it before asking questions that might be answered in it. I've got the same key, I follow the same guidelines, I reference the same yearly log, and I use the same daily logging structure. I'm still using this hardcover dotted journal with the pen loop, this Westcott stainless steel ruler, and a precise V5 rolling ball pen. And yes, it's blue. Sorry. I'm going to show you my monthly log for August of 2020. It's still July, so we have a chance to look at it before it gets filled with too many personal details that have no place being stored on the internet forever. The monthly log is basically just one big calendar that I make myself because I have too much time on my hands, but it also features a habit tracker, a cash flow tracker, and some space to map out my weekly objectives and goals. As each day goes by, I'll cross out the little box in the corner, but not the entire date block. This way I can still read things and I'll always have a physical record of what happened and when. Where were you on the night of the 22nd? Well, I can't quite recall off the top of my head, but thankfully I'm super high functioning OCD, so let me go check my journal and get back to you. The dots represent tasks that need to be completed by a certain date, and I'll cross them out as I get to them. The circles represent events. The specific times of these events are in boxes. The little dashed lines represent ideas or things that are still up in the air. Typically, a lot of things are up in the air, such as life. And the little cakes represent birthdays or celebrations. This way, you can wish people an early birthday before Facebook levels out the playing field and prompts everybody who hardly even knows the person to write on their wall. Plus, you can just take one trip to Rite Aid at the beginning of the month and buy all of your cards and lottery tickets. Winning. These little T's and little R's remind me to take out the trash and recycling. It's pretty easy to forget. At the bottom is a list of key tasks or objectives that I want to complete that week. You'll notice I'm using checkboxes for these instead of little task dots. The checkboxes are generally for projects that can be subdivided into tasks in the daily logs. Projects get the checkboxes, tasks get the dots. And after completing all of the tasks that go into a specific project, I can fill in the little box near the project. Am I crazy? I might be crazy. I'm not crazy. Okay. I'm okay. Am I crazy? Once again, all of these notations are also laid out in my key at the beginning of the journal, and I also use them in my annual and daily logs, but that's explained in another video. And in the other video, I also go into a little bit of detail about the yearly log. This is just a place where, looking forward at the entire year, you can jot down important dates as they come up. Then whenever you set up your monthly log, you have a good reference of dates that are going to be important that month, and you can just move forward from there. Then to the right is my newly refined habit tracker. This is where I keep track of daily activities and make sure that I'm doing what I intend to do. This thing used to be humongous and would take up an entire spread. I'll never regret the process of tracking literally everything I did for about a year. I learned a lot about myself doing that. I learned a lot about how everything I do affects everything I do. It's all way more connected than I thought. But now refining this list makes a lot of sense both for my time and my sanity. A lot of these habits can be tracked and evaluated in other ways, and some of the habits just were not beneficial to write down at all. So moving forward, it's nice that I have this refined list and I only track the habits that are truly important, the habits that deserve the most attention. This is mostly health-related stuff, and I still use a system of hieroglyphics to represent the habits, so that in my daily logs, I can just draw the hieroglyphic when referencing a specific habit. The first box is for wearing my retainers and feeding my fish. Both are habits that occur every other day, so this is just a good way for me to remember what day it is before checking for crooked teeth or dead fish. The second box is for taking vitamins. The third is for expressing gratitude. These first 3 boxes all just get X's when the habit is completed. The fourth box is for yoga, stretching, or mobility work, and the fifth is for workouts. I don't use X's for this, but I have a separate system of letters and numbers for tracking what kind of mobility work and workout routine I'm doing on that specific day. The 6th box is where I track my daily steps, and the 7th box is where I track my daily alcohol consumption. Both of these just get numbers, but alcohol gets an X if I abstain from the sacred drink, which is most days, to be honest. Man, I just can't hang with the kids these days. The 8th is for tracking my cash flow. This just gets an up or down arrow, or a 2-sided arrow if I spent and earned money in the same day. And the 9th is for sleep. I just track the number of hours I slept the night before. At the bottom is a space to review the month and to consider the totality or averages of each habit. This review process is pretty open to interpretation, as I track each habit a little bit differently, and reviewing them differently just makes sense. Then we've got the cash flow tracker. On the left is income, and on the right is expenses. I personally have multiple streams of income and multiple categories of expenses. Therefore, it makes sense to track each one separately and to add them up at the end of the month to see how I'm doing from a net cash flow standpoint. And you can probably tell by looking at me that I also use spreadsheets. So this is just kind of my system of checks and balances to make sure that everything evens out at the end of the month. And writing it down makes those digital numbers just appear so much more real to me. This CEGR bit at the top of the expense list is just a reminder to pay the bills: cable, electric, gas, and rent. When you pay the bills, cross them off. To make tracking cash easier, I track what I spent and earned at the end of each day along with the category of this cash flow. I use a money sign up or down arrow at the bottom left of each date box. So here's how it all plays together. When looking at the whole spread, I can reference the habit tracker to see if there is money coming in or going out. From there, I can look at a specific date to see the exact amount and category of these transactions. Then, at the end of the month, I can add everything up and see where I stand. Did I make more money on YouTube or freelancing? Did I spend more money on my business or my personal life? Does my hot sauce collection count as a business expense or a personal expense? All very important questions. And immediately after the monthly log, we get right back into the daily logs, which again are explained in another video. Immediately before the monthly log is a spread that I call quotes and concepts. This is where I jot down important, hard-hitting lessons that I've learned from books, movies, or podcasts. And let's be honest, mostly podcasts. I can't be stopped. I might refer to these ideas when writing for my own content or when I'm just trying to figure it out, man. But I really like keeping these hard hitters all in one place because upon reflection, it tells you a lot about how you grew this month. And you'll see that I've already started incorporating ideas that I've come across in July into the August log because I ran out of space in July and had to start moving forward. And yeah, I gotta figure this one out. But that's the thing, you might never figure it out. Your bullet journal is always going to be a work in progress. A big part of this is thinking on your feet, going with the flow, and being okay with change. Don't follow too many of my rules. You need to be the keeper of your own system of tracking your own life. But also, don't set too many rules for yourself so that the structure becomes too rigid, and before you know it, you're boxing yourself into some system that you don't totally enjoy, that you don't totally find value and meaning in. But at the end of the day, all this thing is a system of zooming out and looking at your life from an outside perspective. I like to think about it like this. When you're journaling, you're playing The Sims. You're strategizing and preparing for a fulfilling experience in work, health, and life. And when you're not journaling, you're living. You're following the plan as best as you can, and you're not getting too worked up when inevitably things change. The only constant in life is change. Don't be afraid to scribble things out and start again. Those mishaps are great reminders of past events, almost like scars. And whether things go exactly as planned or not, this bullet journal is insanely valuable to me. I hope that this breakdown in this video was somewhat valuable to you. If it was, I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe to the channel. And let me know if you have any other questions about it in the comments below. And until next time, thanks for watching. Cheers. Have a good one.